for the first community spotlight for Project Discovery. I am super excited about being here today. I am feeling very fortunate that I get to meet all the people that we're going to meet in these community spotlights and what that's going to look like. So first off, if you're here, yes, this is my Twitch channel. Like, this is Metsing Around. Normally you come here to see me hacking or learning to hack or talking about Project Discovery. But for those of you who might not know, what is Project Discovery? Project Discovery is a company that makes open source security tools. And our whole deal with that, the big one is one called Nuclei. Nuclei's whole deal is it's a vulnerability scanner. You give it a target. We run some templates written in YAML against that target to see how it's vulnerable. And in doing so, you find out your asset, because the idea is you're running this against your own assets, your own targets, to make sure that you're safe. And it comes back and it says, oh no, you're vulnerable. That's who we are. That's our product. I'm PJ Metz. I'm the developer community manager at Project Discovery. I've got my Project Discovery shirt on today. This is official business. As you can tell, I've got my 80s hat on because our whole vibe is the 80s. But today I'm very excited for our very first community spotlight. We have an amazing guest and someone who's really done a lot in our community, and so it means the world that we're able to have them here on the show today. The whole point of this community spotlight, before I bring our esteemed guest on, the whole point of this community spotlight and the reason we started doing it is because our tools are built on our community and by our community. Those templates I mentioned before that run inside of Nuclei, those are all built by people in our community. Some people on our team build these templates as well, but largely of the 6,000 plus templates in our repository that check for a variety of vulnerabilities and misconfigurations. In all of that, hundreds of people have been contributing templates and saying, here, I made this, you can use it. And that community came together as the company was evolving and growing, and it started small and it's only gotten bigger and bigger. And now we boast that we have 70,000 people in our community, the way that we measure it. And now not all 70,000 of them are writing templates, but I tell you what, today this person is writing some templates. So I want to give more time to our guest. I want to make sure that he has time to talk about all the things he wants to talk about and answer all these questions that I'm going to have. And so without further ado, s'il vous plaît, if you don't mind, please welcome Philippe Deltail.
Thank you for inviting me. Very cool to
Absolutely.
be the first one in this spotlight. Yes, I'm from Chile. I lived in Brazil for a while, and now I'm living in Colombia. Um, I kind of recently started or got into this world of hacking and pen testing and book bounties in the last 5 years. So I feel like it's been a year or less because everything after the pandemic, everything's been so fast. So how did I start it in this world? It was actually I was making some. I was remembering, and something happened to me when I lived in Brazil. I hacked by accident one of an ACP, the biggest one, and that was a good lesson for me because I was expecting them to give me something, right? Like
Oh, yeah.
they say we're gonna hire you, we're gonna work with you, and blah blah blah. And that was my first time, the first time that something like that happened, and then I learned that is something that companies do a lot because they want to have more time for them to understand the issues and probably prepare themselves. So then after that, I realized that I had a talent and that I wanted to do those kind of things. It's just that sometimes they were by accident. And a lot of hackers, a lot of people experience the same things. You're using a software or service, and then you realize that you're in a place that you shouldn't be.
Oops.
And this ICP provider, they had, so at the time I was doing Wi-Fi hacking, right? So
Mhm.
I got into this Wi-Fi that for some reason I could see all the other clients, right? So the fact the the first think you think about is what can I do with this? And then I realized that because of all these companies have pretty old routers, you could use default password to get into the routers and get data from there, like what kind of password they're using for the Wi-Fi connection, or
Hmm.
what DNS are they using. So it was interesting because I gather roughly 3,000 Wi-Fi passwords, and I actually realized that most of them are. I published that on my blog. That
Mm,
70% there were some like cultural language related
mm.
passwords, like football teams or names. Yeah, so that was the first one.
It's
After
wild.
that, yeah, it was pretty fun actually. At the time, I didn't know a lot of things that I could have done, like changing their DNS servers and sending them to hijack sites
Wherever.
or sites that I control. Because at the time it
Yeah.
was 2014,
Okay.
not HTTPS was not probably not as widespread as it is now.
This is
So yeah,
something that I always think about is like how recent so many of the things that are important in security are. Like HTTPS is new. Like that's very recent. And for so long, just the internet was just not encrypted, just not whatever. We're just sending raw text everywhere. And it blows my mind that that's even possible and that that's a
yeah,
situation that happened. But your beginning, the way you started in this accidentally hacking, this sounds like an episode of Darknet Diaries, where
yeah.
he got in and he was like, oh, look at all this stuff. What's here? What can
I
I do?
actually, I actually was. I was on one of the episodes of that Net Diaries, but it's the one that you need to be a patron subscriber to have
Well,
access to.
listen, everyone, go be a
Yep.
Patreon subscriber for Darknet Diaries because I feel like I haven't met anyone who doesn't like Darknet Diaries in the security community. You know?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's such a good source of real hacking, problems or
Yeah.
a lot of stuff that people wouldn't be able to understand or to know. I was talking to a friend yesterday about these guys who worked with this website, Welcome to Video, that's
Hmm.
uh, pedophiles and things like that. It was really interesting to understand that, but so many other things too. But well, I was saying that. So the funny thing is that at the time I hacked, or I got into Wi-Fi hacking because of I didn't have internet in the place that I was living, and then I realized that nobody had internet because the lines they were overselling their capacity. So even though so I jumped in many Wi-Fi routers with different ICP providers, and they didn't work. So I thought I I won't I'm not gonna you're not gonna hire these companies because they don't provide a service. So during the weekend, it was impossible to get online. Imagine that
Oh,
in
yeah.
2014. And after that, what's interesting is that I actually got into Wi-Fi hacking because of a student that I had, an intern.
Oh, cool.
And after that, I went to DEFCON China and DEFCON US in
Yeah.
2019, and
Okay.
I did workshops about Wi-Fi hacking, which was
Oh,
pretty cool. It
cool.
was Oh, that trip to China was amazing. It's so
I mean, 2019 China sounds like a very interesting place to be.
yes, and it's so different that at some point you are overloaded
Oh,
with
yeah,
new things,
absolutely.
or and the language it's such a big barrier, like
Yeah.
nobody, just a few, let's say I met two, three people that spoke English.
Mhm.
So yeah. And what else? So yeah, so I went to Chile after that. I couldn't find
Mhm.
a job in Brazil because of the economical crisis. So I resisted for 8 months
Mm.
with only small projects here and there. And then I started to work as a IT consultant for one of the biggest hospitals where it was projected to be built,
Okay.
and it was stopped for political reasons. But then working there, I did the same approach as with this Brazilian ISP. It's just to scan the local network,
Yeah.
and and I found that I could access 150,000 devices just like scanning the network. And many of these devices were computers and servers with share folders with all kind of privileges. And some of them they had even,
Ooh.
you can even write to them, right? You can even like add information to, like, say, an X-ray server. So that took me for a year. I tried to make people understand the problem, but since I was new, and these
Oh my gosh.
institutions, public institutions, are pretty conservative and close-minded, they were not
Yeah.
just not paying
No, it's
attention. I
fine. No
even
one knows
talked.
the password. They can't get in. Don't worry.
I
No, like
even,
it's
I showed them like patient information, like social security numbers,
yeah.
exams, everything they can imagine. People that had abortions,
Oh no. Yeah, that's not great
everything that you can
information.
imagine. So after a year, roughly, I gave this information to a research
Hmm.
journalist group, and they worked this article for a month with me. And well, that's a long history, but that's a long story. But that got me actually giving this talk at DEFCON 26 and Sky
Yes.
Talks, not the main track.
Hmm.
But for me, it was amazing. It was crazy for me. The police in Chile were sending me messages that if I did the talk, they're gonna be detained. A lot
Oh
of people kept giving me
no.
messages. They actually sent people to record, and this is fully detailed on the Darknet Diaries episode.
Yeah. That's insane. That's wild. And like you were like, look, I shouldn't have access to this. We need to fix it. And they're like, no. And you're like, all right, well, we need to get this fixed somehow. I'm gonna go to someone to try and get it fixed, and then they get mad about it. And like there seems to
Yes,
be this double-edged sword of they don't want to be exposed for having bad practices, but they continue to use bad practices, and it's gonna lead to a threat actor, a bad person, someone else is gonna get that information if you don't hide it. It blows my mind that for security, the number one problem and the number one way that people get into places they shouldn't be into is because someone didn't configure it correctly. It's like leaving your house and not locking the door, or like taping the key
and
to the door and being like, "Yeah, just get in if you want."
what is more annoying is that you could tell them, you could explain them, you could do everything on your power to make them understand, and yeah, it's just like, nah, no.
Ugh.
They will say, but it's an internal network. Yeah, but it's a national-wide internal network with over 500,000 devices, with over 100,000 users. 100,000 users, imagine. So I'm
That's
gonna, I'm gonna, I'm
insane.
gonna copy the link of the article, the original article.
Yeah, for sure.
It's,
Um.
it's in Spanish, but it should be.
Oh,
Oh well, it's also
Google
not on the
translates
screen.
pretty good these days, I think. But yeah, isn't it insane to think that like you explain to them, you tell them, and they're like, oh well, it's an internal network, and you're like, yeah, I was able to get in, and I should not have been able to. Like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, I was working inside the network, but literally you could plug in any port, anywhere, and you had access to everything. It's like,
No problem at all. Great.
and many providers were using TeamViewer or other services to get into their computers or their systems.
Oh
So
man,
after
not
that,
great.
yeah. So what happened after that? I really start, like feeling like I was a hacker, and
Yeah.
but to be honest, my technical skills, they were not that good.
Mm,
I think during the workshop, I realized that I could do, like a workshop at DEFCON. It's super hard because you need to practice it
yep.
50 times.
Yep.
Every See, something goes wrong. That's it. Your workshop is over.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
they were pretty good. I was pretty satisfied. I was pretty proud also.
Good.
But then I was thinking about getting to book bounty hunting. But since you know you need a culture, the hacking, if you want to be a hacker, you need a culture
Yeah, someone
that
needs to teach you,
supports
right?
you. So, but not only teach you, but you know, like being part of a group of people that understand the things that you're doing, and they can
Yes.
help you out. So in my country, probably people are gonna disagree with me, but I don't think we have a culture that
Mm-hmm.
people will share or people will um, improve as a group, right?
Mm,
I tried to get into bounty hunting with people that were hunters for a couple of years.
mm-hmm.
Nothing. There were no help at all. No, and that's one of the reasons why I love to be part of a community. The project discovery community. It's so big, and also it's so cool. You know, like for example, people from India. Usually they're like they're so nice with people that I don't even know.
That's right. They want to share everything too. It's like, look, here's this. Hey, Dinesh is in the chat. What up, Dinesh? Um, it's very like it's welcoming, and it's like, hey, come in. Yeah, check out what we're doing here. Do you want to do it too? Here's some docs. Here's some stuff. Oh,
And
I made this, template. I've seen so many times on Discord where someone's like, oh, I'm trying to make this template. I'm confused, and someone comes in and goes, oh, here's a working template that might help you, and they just
yeah,
give it to them, and it's
and,
very welcoming, and it's very concerned with making sure people can all get better and everyone can level up. So it's
and
if I do say so myself, I think it is a pretty good community we got here.
and talking about that, I don't know who is behind the PD team user in Discord,
Oh,
but big shout out because sometimes I'm really tired and I just talk to them because of the time differences.
yeah.
And sometimes I make them a question and I realize I already know the answer. And I know, oh, I'm sorry.
That is Sandeep who is doing that, and Sandeep is in there as PD team. Philippe, I do see that it looks like you unfortunately got disconnected. But as soon as Philippe's able to get back, that's right. Philippe has contributed more than 45 templates on Project Discovery, and that's awesome. 45 directly from Philippe. So when Philippe gets back, we are going to continue talking to him. In the meantime, because technical things happen. In the meantime, let's take a look at maybe some of these templates that Philippe made. Oh, he's back. He's coming back slowly but surely. Um, I gotta make sure that I'm doing this right. So we're using a new app here called Ping to get to talk with Philippe today. And oh, boom, back, no problem. Sorry about that, Philippe. He's gonna get his audio set up here for 1 second. This is kind of the thing with Ping is it takes a little time to get the audio set up and get it working. But Philippe is working on that right now, as you can see. It looks like you are muted on my end. You've got the mute microphone, and it might be that you have to set up the microphone like Ping makes you do. We lost. Oh, it's going to refresh, I bet. Yep. This is what live is like, y'all. These TV shows make it look easy, but live has its issues sometimes, and you got to work through them, and you got to find a way through. I hear you now.
Yeah, I don't know if it was me or in my internet or
We did it.
whatever happened. What happened? Was it me? Was it you?
I don't know. I was still on, and you kind of disappeared for a second. It was funny. You froze,
Yeah,
disappeared,
probably
came back, but we're
probably
ready now. We're here. Uh,
probably my internet
Dinesh,
connection.
DNS shouted you out for writing more than 45 templates for the Project Discovery community. And you are consistently making these templates for the community. So we're in the story. What is it that brought you to Project Discovery specifically? You started getting into bug bounty hunting. What led you to Nuclei and Project Discovery?
You know, I remembered that I was testing all the tools, because so many tools in GitHub projects, GitHub repos, that they say they do magic. You're gonna be a book bounty hunter now with this tool, right? So I test them all of them, a couple of months. But one day, a friend of mine said, "Look, this company, Chilean company, they had a book bounty program. It's actually one of the two companies in Chile that a self-hosted book bounty program." And then I did some research. They were part of HackerOne, so I thought, there's no way I'm gonna find a bug on this company. But then, I ran some Nuclei templates, and positive results came out. It was Google bucket. I don't remember exactly, but
Yeah.
it was something like that. And I remember that I started, like what it was. Long story short, I had access to all the bucket.
Oh my God.
So I couldn't believe it. I was shocked. I actually reported 3 bucks. They paid me $5,500, and I thought, well, I'm gonna become a millionaire. If my first bug is $5,000, I'm gonna, if you by all the companies out there.
Uh-huh.
But to be honest, it took me more than a year to get paid bugs in HackerOne on HackerOne,
Uh-huh.
and book. They were really difficult.
Mhm.
They I don't I don't think those sites are good for people that are starting,
Mm.
because
It can
they
be hard to
trash me
get
many.
started in
I
something
always
like
say
that.
that they trash me many of my bugs.
Mhm. $5,000 for your first bug
I
bounty
got,
report. It's
yes,
amazing.
and then I reported to the other Chilean company three more. Oh, no, not that big amounts. It was
Mhm.
like probably $100.
Mhm.
But then what I realized was that this tool gave me all the insights. So I started to check it out more, and then including some templates. And for sometimes I will include, let's say, 10 templates in a month, and then nothing for 6 months. And so you said constant. You said that I was contributing constantly. How do you say that? Sorry for the
Consistently.
word.
And yeah,
For the
maybe
word.
it's not.
But I
Maybe it's
haven't
like a chunk and then
consistently.
nothing and then another
I
chunk, but
haven't.
I consider
I
that consistent.
actually. I actually. I actually. I was hunting for. At some point, I was hunting for 16 hours per day, and that got me pretty much $15,000, and then I stopped for over a year, and it's just recently that I restarted, because it's a but hunting. It's something that you for me, it's like you get into a black hole, and you
Mm,
can be there for days in a row without, obsessed about finding a bug,
obsessed.
found this bug, and I have an idea, and then I will have another idea. And well, I moved from Chile to Colombia,
Mhm.
mostly because to one of the things that I do road, and here where I live is perfect place, and I do, imagine, I do 800 miles per month to get to have I have some else. So I decided that the good thing for me is to be more active. So
Yeah. That's wild. That's
one of the
amazing.
things that you need to be active is a community.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a community. So yeah, I much better now. But returning to the one hunting, I am trying to build templates again. I actually have a few that are maybe. So you released the new version 3, which is amazing, but I will need
That's
to
right.
rethink a lot of the templates that I was doing. Um, yeah. So what tools do I use now? Or do you want to
Yeah.
ask me first?
I would love. Well, I mean, just tell us
It's just
absolutely.
that
What are your
I'm reading
tools you really like
the
using?
questions.
No, please. It's this interview is very organic.
So
However it goes, it goes.
so I I built this project on my GitHub repo that it's called Book Bounty Scripts, which basically I started, scripting some things that I will do like every day, like adding new programs, removing programs, getting the URLs from a program. And I use this tool that is called BBRF, which is it's a it's an amazing tool. It allows you to store your book bounty programs data in a pretty easy way once you manage to configure it. So that's the base of what I use. It's having all these programs stored, right? So I can query, for example, give me all the URLs from all programs in Boomba in integrity, right? Or in
Mm-hmm.
Bookrat or in HackerOne. And then I will run the templates using Axiom, which is another amazing tool that
Mm-hmm.
I've been also sending small PRs and small changes. It's built on Bash, so
Oh,
my
cool.
tool is also built in Bash, which is something that I want to migrate to Python, but it's going to take me a while. So I use Nuclei for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I use HTTPX, Katana,
Mm-hmm.
Subfinder, Notify. It's great. I still use it with my
Awesome.
Telegram, and DNX. And that's what the tools that I use on my project on this BBB scripts on my GitHub repo. If you
Yeah.
want to check it out,
I put
it's basically
the
a
link to
way.
your bug bounty hunting scripts in
Yeah,
Twitch
sorry,
so everyone can
I
see it.
cannot post to the chat because I
Yeah,
don't
I
have an
have to
account.
like turn on your ability to do links, but anything you want me to put a link in, I'll do it immediately. I got you.
Okay. So what else? So
What's your
I
machine setup? Like well like you've got all these tools that you use. What's your machine setup like? Is it like a Linux machine? Is it like what are you using?
yeah I use Ubuntu
Mhm.
in the last, let's say, 6 years. It's
Mhm.
one of the best ways to get more involved with the command line, get more involved with it's easier it's easier to understand things once you have Linux.
Mhm.
Uh, if you come from a Windows operating system, I think it's more difficult.
Mm.
When I started, I had to do a lot of things to get my computer work. So I actually I actually have one of the questions in Ask Ubuntu that has, I don't remember, but thousands of uh, views because I bought a dock, yeah, right,
Okay.
and my laptop didn't work with the dock. It was like the screen was blinking,
Oh, okay, yeah.
and that took me like a couple of months to fix it. But it was interesting. Nowadays it's easier. It's much easier. I have XP13, a Dell, and the main reason why I have Dell computer is because I have a warranty that you can use everywhere. Like,
Ah,
doesn't matter
good.
what country you are in, and I
Good.
already used it 3 times. So using Ubuntu, one day I was turning off my computer. I had a startup at the time. I was a co-founder of a startup, and I had a important interview. And I will turn off the computer, and it will say something like "update your firmware." I said, "What is this? It's a new message." And I said, "Okay," and that bricked my computer forever. No lights,
Forever.
nothing. Yeah, actually, they had so I used the warranty and they changed the motherboard. But otherwise that would have been a really expensive
Oh
what
my
is it, a
gosh.
paper
I'm
paper
remembering
holder.
now, like my motherboard broke a lot on the Dell computer I had for a while. Like it would just like, and they were like, "Oh, we have to fix this," and I was like, "Okay, please do. I need this for." It was I was a student at the time, and I was like, "I really need this to pass my classes."
So now this warranty, I don't know if you know it or people know it, but one of the there's a one type that they go to your place to fix it. And so they just remove the motherboard, they put a new one.
Mhm.
So that's the only reason. Well, I like the computer, but that's the main reason for me to have this
Yeah,
brand. And I use a laptop with 32 gigs of RAM, mostly because of burp.
it's good. It's
You know,
nice.
burp is such a RAM intensive application. Usually,
Yeah,
when I had 16, it was impossible to work at some point.
yeah.
I also have a 32 inches monitor,
Oh,
4K.
cool.
Helps a lot with many of the things that I'm usually working on.
Do you keep it vertical
Uh,
or do you do horizontal?
no horizontal,
Horizontal.
horizontal.
I feel like it would be such a cool level up to have the horizontal and a vertical. Like I'm gonna maybe convince my wife that I need a bigger desk so I can have a really ridiculous setup for what do I even do at work? I stream. Like I don't need that, but I kind of want it.
Yeah. So one thing that I didn't say is that I was thinking about these projects that I'm working on, and it will be pretty cool to have more people helping me. So I will pay
Yeah,
$1 per issue closed in any of my tools that had open issues. For
that's
anyone
like a
that wanna
bounty.
work in that for anyone that wanna work in Bash or Python, there you have it. If you solve an issue, because what I do in my tools that I create issues that sometimes of new features or bugs that sometimes stay there for 5 months, 6 months. And yes, if somebody is looking for small amount of money, there you have my GitHub. Um,
Go in and close a few issues, and really like contributing to things like this makes everything better too. Like it's you get to contribute, and many people will contribute for free. But for $1, like you
yeah,
maybe find like five issues that you're like, oh, I know what to do. $5.
yeah, no, they're not that difficult. It's just sometimes I'm lazy.
Oh, I hear. Oh, that's
And
all right. There's nothing that money can't cure, right?
well, we are all lazy in some way, right? Sometimes.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
what else can I say?
you've got this decent machine now. It's got the warranty 3 times, but those warranties are great because like I remember at a certain point they're like if we have to replace it like 4 times or a certain number, they're like, well, we're gonna get you a new one because it's broken, it's a lemon. But I hope that that's possible for you. But yeah, getting that computer fix is fantastic. What is like the first computer or like tech device that you remember owning, like maybe when you were much younger?
You know that I had internet for the first time when I was 17.
Mm-hmm.
Because Chile at the time there were probably 6 to 7 years of access of the new technology will take 5 to 6 years to get to Chile, and because of
Mm-hmm.
the new ones that were really expensive. So I remember having a 280x computer, 280x, 286,
Yeah.
sorry, 286, but didn't work for anything. I mean, most of my friends at school they had new brand computers that they could run games. I couldn't.
Oh
Like
my
so,
gosh.
imagine that in the year 2001, when I went to the university, we were we were using Java, right? So I
Uh-huh.
remember that I had a 486 DX4 CPU, 100 megahertz, and it will take 3 minutes to compile a Hello World.
Oh no.
So even though I had computers, they were crap. They were just like nothing that you could work on. And I started programming on a calculator, on a Casio FX
Yeah, yeah.
calculator with BASIC before. So in my school, we had computers, but they were like meant to build like websites. That's the
Yeah.
only thing
Okay.
that, or using email, right? It's
Mhm.
much different. It's a lot better when you have a computer at home that you can do things. And thought that I always thought that probably if I had a better computer when I was younger, I would have done much more probably.
You
I
probably would
remember
have
that
accidentally hacked earlier.
I could easily, I can only use, like IRC is the only thing that I could use on those
Mhm.
computers. I couldn't even play games. I remember all my friends, at the time it was like it was something that everybody would do, like buy a new computer. I remember
Uh-huh.
this compact Presario MMX
Oh,
Intel
wow,
processors.
yeah.
And I was like so frustrated because all my friends they had these computers, but they didn't even know to turn them on.
Oh,
They were
yeah.
like the new TV. They just had something new that they needed to buy, but they
Uh-huh.
didn't know how to use. So after that, I remember that it took me a while to get a brand new computer, probably 2 years, and yeah, since then it's been a tool. It's a working tool for me. It's well for a lot of
Yeah.
us. It's something that you. It's the only thing that I spend good amount of money. Even
Mm.
though this one I bought it on eBay during so I paid half of the price.
Hey, it doesn't work. That's all that matters.
I probably the guy had some I don't know. Probably a lot of people thought that this pandemic will be much longer, or
Mm,
people got fired, and
mm,
yeah. So
mhm, mhm.
buying on eBay if you're from another country is not easy because in the road
Yeah.
it could disappear, and if you don't have
Uh-huh.
insurance, you lose all your money.
Yeah. Oh, we lost the package. Sorry. Thanks. Sure, it got lost. Uh-huh. Well, we are getting towards the end here. We're going to be wrapping up at 11:45 Pacific time where I'm at. I wanted to ask you about sort of like maybe some predictions. How you think automation or AI is going to affect the security world, and what way you think, whether it's positive or negative.
I think it's already affecting in a way. I've been using ChatGPT, and sometimes it's not good, but sometimes it will give you an idea or a hint
Mm.
where the
Mm.
vulnerability might be, or you can understand code that you want to exploit easier, faster. It's already making an effect. I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm not sure. The automation is a game of cat and mouse. So from the penetration testing side, of course, a lot of things are gonna improve, making it faster, easier.
Mm.
But at the other side, some technologies are gonna be prepared for this increment in size or in effectiveness of
Mm.
some tools.
Mhm.
Some people believe that I met this guy from the US. He said he wouldn't study computer science because of ChatGPT. There will be no jobs for programmers. And I say, yeah, probably that will be the case in 15 years or so. So one of the things that media likes to portray is that the technologies are going to be super fast in
Uh-huh.
changing everything. But we have internet, we have email in the last 20 something years, and you can
Yeah.
still send paper-based mail, right?
That's right. That's right.
And so it's going to take longer than we expected, that people think, and but I think that it's gonna be a huge change, and people in this field need to be flexible. And I'm pretty sure a lot of hackers are flexible to change their ways.
Yeah. I think most hackers
And
are always looking for the best way to do something. Like, and if a new tool
yeah,
helps you do something well, then yeah, absolutely, I'm going to find a way to use the new tool.
the problem is when the industries, some industries are pretty slow in changing, and that's
Yes.
an opportunity for us.
It's an opportunity for
And
hackers.
yeah, you could still find I can still find bugs using nuclei. Not
Hmm.
a lot, not that impactful with a big impact, but it's still possible. You're right. It
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't be because nuclei has been there for 3 years.
because you've had it. Like all these companies have
Well,
had access to the tool. You should be using it
so
already.
so a lot of like top 10 hunters, they will say that you cannot find using automation, that OpenRediX don't work anymore. But I've been paid for OpenRediX. I've been paying for silly
Right.
bugs that people say you were not able to do anymore. I'm the guy that somebody says it's not possible. I try it. I try it
That's
every day.
right.
But if you focus on automation only, it's a recipe for failure because you need to understand the template, you need to understand how the things work, and then you can move to a more manual kind of book bounty hunting. Nowadays, I'm doing a lot of manual stuff because
Mm.
all of the sites that I'm working on, they have like I'm working on one now that it's like a black box. It's only a login panel, nothing else.
Okay.
So if you use a lot of automated tools, if you face those kind of programs or sites, you're not gonna
Yeah.
accomplish anything. The
Absolutely.
future is difficult to predict. That's one.
Yeah. It's
But
very
for
true.
sure, but you know what you know for sure is that the technology is gonna advance. It's
Mm,
gonna get more complex.
mm,
AI it's gonna get better. Not
mhm.
sure how long it's gonna take. A lot of people believe that programmers, people that don't work in the field, they believe that programmers are useless now.
Yeah, they
And
don't understand.
ChatGPT sometimes, I don't know if you used it a lot, but sometimes they give you the wrong answers all over again, all the time, like
The
over and over
most
again, the same
confident
mistake.
wrong answer. The most confident
Yeah,
wrong answer.
yeah. For me, it's like so many times that so many apologies.
Oh, I'm
Sorry for
sorry. I will
the.
readjust
I'm
now.
sorry for the whatever confusion or
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So yeah,
Awesome. Yeah, things are changing, and it's important to change with it, whether you are industry or whether you're a hacker. Philippe, thank you for being our first community spotlight. Just so y'all know, Philippe, I was gonna offer Philippe some swag for doing this, but he said no, give it away. So if you want to win a box of Project Discovery swag, join our Discord. It's Nux gg/discord, and you head there and join our Discord, and in the announcements channel I'm going to announce this little swag giveaway, thanks to Philippe for offering up his swag for someone else to get. Philippe, thank you, I can't say enough. And we're going to continue to see you in the community, and we'll see y'all at the next community spotlight. Have a good one. Thank you.
thank you, PJ.